wanted to share this out because I'm kind of probably going to try not to be on too long because I've got stuff I got to do before I leave at 1:45. I have to get my hair done, and it takes a while in traffic sometimes to get to the salon. What do I want to talk about today? Well, we can talk about everything that's going on. It's one of those things where you're like, what's really going on? Actually, Bad Batch is the first kind of confirmed show for this year, right? And I thought, they're not probably not going to drop the second and last, thanks be to Jesus Christ, season of Andor, till next year because I can't imagine if they ever did it right, that they would have the time to actually, cut it right, edit it, do all the, special effects right. And of course, Tony Gilroy is about as much a Star Wars fan as my dog is a fan of cats. All right. And I don't, if you liked Andor, fine. I didn't. All right. I don't want to be looking at places that are familiar to me. Star Wars should always give you something new to look at. And Tony Gilroy did not do that. And then he brought up current cultural issues, which isn't, I talked about George Lucas when he talked about Vietnam. Vietnam had been over almost 10 years. It was still kind of in the cultural mindset, right? But it wasn't current. And that's the thing about politics and Star Wars. When I hear some dweeb, some like Star Wars Holocron on X, or that Jacob Suggs or fucking Pablo talk about, well, it was always that politics in it. Not current politics, not that kind of crap. Not the kind of crap you guys are doing. Here's a dyke love story in the middle of Star Wars. If you hate it, you're a bigot. What? It's, look, if you want to make, I've said this before, I'll say this again. If you heterophobic weirdos want to make that shit, go do it yourselves. But keep your politics out of our entertainment. Look, the world is such a shitty place. Why would you bring it into Star Wars? Why? Why would you bring it into Indiana Jones? If you watch Dial of Destiny, at least James Mangold, no, I'm not going to say this. He did bring current issues into Indiana Jones because of Helena Shaw and a black CIA agent working with Germans. I'm like, what? It's like, what? So I'm watching this going, I'm not feeling this. Okay. First off, as somebody who understands history, and, when that movie supposedly takes place, I was a year old. Okay. And the CIA probably would have recruited her to go to Africa. All right. Because the Soviets were messing around in Africa. All right. There were revolutionaries all over the place. All right. Or, the FBI would have recruited her to try to get into the Weather Underground. All right, whatever. But as someone working in at the European desk, what the hell are you talking about? Okay, that's not the way that's not historically accurate. Helena Shaw, annoying as fuck. Okay, even if they toned her character down, she was annoying as fuck. Okay, just fucking whatever. Okay, so that I think was the big problem people had. I don't have a problem with a black CIA agent. There are tons of them, but put them in the right context, okay? You know, if you had a blonde hair, blue eyed honeypot in that role, that would make sense. That is old school, intelligence gathering, honey trap. There you go. I mean, look, if you ever saw the movie Munich, what do you think was going on in that when that girl, I think in Holland, entrapped one of the Mossad agents? All right. I mean, uh, the one guy knew she was a honey trap. He even said so. And that's the thing. You know, I hate to tell women, I hate to tell all the angry, you know, feminazis this, but your power is in your femininity and in your beauty. Men, if you're a beautiful woman and you got skills, men in certain positions will do anything and say anything in front of you. You know, hey, Ira, the problem is that it wasn't realistic. The only thing that was realistic is Indy's depression over Mutt being killed in Vietnam, and the thing between him and Marion, the division. All right, and him just basically kind of walking away, saying I can't help her, and wallowing in his own self-pity. All right, that actually makes sense in lots of ways. If you don't believe in a higher purpose, okay, and I would think Indy, after seeing the power within the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail and the Shankara stones, that he would probably have some sort of idea that there's something bigger than him out there. But you know, I didn't write it. So, and those are the reasons why these movies failed. All right, they didn't fail because of the actors and actresses, even though I think Solo suffered a lot from the fact that they hired a balding dwarf, whose voice sounds like his balls hadn't dropped yet. Sound like a 12-year-old boy to play Han Solo. And it's like, but look, this is the way Hollywood casts real men now. Because masculinity, Han Solo, Harrison Ford, that's toxic and that cannot be. All right. And yet, everything that was ever successful that Kathy Kennedy's ever been part of had a very masculine male as a central figure. Okay? That's what people want to see. And now we've got, you know, women screaming about it at William Shatner today. Screaming about Captain Kirk. He did all these alien chicks and blah, blah, blah. He just made a filthy bitch. And he just went off on her. He was not nice either. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I would like to see guys their age, these women's age, go off and say, we're guys, that's natural, okay? I mean, that's natural if you're single and you don't want to be tied down, turning around, loose, chasing women. They don't have a problem with that. You shouldn't either if you're a woman, all right? I have a problem when they're married and they do that, all right? Because you, as a man, signed up for a vocation, which means it's not a job, it's a calling, and that's vastly different. And if you fuck around on your wife, you are a shitty human being, all right? And, you know, if she doesn't forgive you for it, that's her fault, but whatever. Anyway, but let's talk about Peltz. Peltz, there's a story out today in the Wall Street Journal. I do not have it called up on here. I did see it, and let's see, I'm going to go back to X and maybe I'll find it. No, I can't find it. Anyway, basically comparing Bob Iger to Michael Eisner. Michael Eisner was the CEO before Bob Iger. Michael Eisner saw the rise of Disney animation, The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, and others. Okay. And then it started sort of kind of petering out. There was a shareholders revolt. He stepped down, and Iger took over. Yeah, I know he did. Hi, Mazars, how you doing? And for a while there, Iger rejuvenated Disney, and he brought back, the Frozen and all the rest of that. And he bought Marvel. Look at how big that franchise got. Then he went and bought Lucasfilm. And I think this is where he started making mistakes. Keeping Kathy Kennedy, mistake. Allowing her to renew her contract instead of renegotiating, mistake. Okay. Even though I do think there's a clause to where if a movie she made $1 billion, it was automatically renewed, which is what the fuck. Okay. I still can't believe that. I still can't, as someone who has been in a situation where you see people in leadership position, the boss and his major domo, which would be, in my case, the chief of staff, have got to have the final say. They have got to. And the idea that Iger would not say, I'd like to renegotiate that contract, I want some more power in this situation, is utterly unfathomable to me. I've told people about that the speculation is, the rumor, okay, we'll say the rumor, is that Kathy Kennedy's contract has a cannot be fired for cause clause. And it's like, what? Everyone's looking around going, why? And that's where the problem started. And then he made the big mistake of buying 20th Century Fox and Fox Searchlight, because they still haven't really been able to recover from the $71 billion debt. Trust me, Murdoch knew what he was doing. Okay, he knew everything. And he really played the game with Iger, and it just proved that as much of a wheeler and dealer Iger supposedly was, you know what the fuck he was getting into. Okay, we got Hulu. Disney is supposed to pay, I think what was it? The last from Hulu was like $4 billion. Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay. Does Disney even have the money? We don't know. That everything that Bob Chapek had to fight, including the woke shit, those people did not work at Disney till Iger instituted all this DEI shit, because BlackRock and Vanguard at the time and State Street were saying, you need to do this in DEI and we need more representation. And you kind of look at BlackRock and it's like, who's pulling your puppet strings? And the reason why you kind of want to ask is because, people are sitting there going, look, dudes and dudettes, look, it's DEI in and of itself excludes white men, white women if they're not weird, Asians in general, and it ignores merit. It ignores talent. Okay, You're not going to get a movie made that's going to be good if your team is, I'm talking about Bob Iger right now, Grizzly. If your team is made up of people who can't cut it. Look, bring up Carrie Hart. Y'all remember her? Let me call up a picture. She was basically a diversity hire at Lucasfilm. And she basically was traded. All right. This is her at Star Wars Celebration 2015. She was named as a producer on, I think, Rogue One and Solo, and I think The Last Jedi. And after Solo lost, what, $250–350 million, she was fired. She just, and the way this happened was September of 2018, and this was after the big kerfuffle. You've got Pablo crying on Twitter X, leaving Twitter, hiding on Twitter, attacking billionaires, et cetera, et cetera. Just look, we have the receipts, okay? This is after all that, and this is after the disaster. And look, when Grace Randolph confirms what our friend Craig said, that there was a VTC meeting between Lucasfilm California and Lucasfilm Great Britain, and it was basically a fight, screaming match. It probably happened in early June. I mean, I'm going to say that, if I remember right, Solo was a Memorial Day drop. And, a lot, like Critical Drinker was like talking to Ben Shapiro about it, going, well, they shouldn't have made a movie about a character they destroyed. I'm not going to agree with that. And the only reason why is that I myself wanted to see a young Han Solo movie. I wanted to see that origin story. I didn't like the movie because they did it all wrong. And this is when you knew it was going to be a disaster. First off, the firing of Lord and Miller. Second of all, because Kathy Kennedy couldn't be bothered to watch the dailies. And when she finally did, she was horrified. All right, Lord and Miller apparently were making, some sort of Jim Carrey ripoff. Ace Ventura. It's like, what the fuck? She was ignoring, Larry Kasdan, who should have probably just took over because he is a director. She hires Ron Howard, who, now we are only told this, came in and reshot 80% of the movie. So the movie, which was at the time the highest budgeted Star Wars film to date, went from $225 million to probably double that, to $450 million. And it only made, what, $380 million? So you're looking right there, that's a lot of money. Bye-bye. And, oh, hi, Mike. And then you're like, what did marketing cost? Then you add that to the final production cost. That goes to the budget. So it's probably $600 million. Now, you have to look at the theater take. All right, we all saw the pictures of empty theaters. My favorite was the Stoned Republic authors and story group at an empty theater for the first film, for the first showing. Do you know how fucking sad that is for a Star Wars movie? Do you know? And these people are witless, Okay, they don't understand. You know, your average left-wing fascist socialist has no idea about profit. And when you talk about making money, dividends, they all come out with their axes saying, kill the billionaire. It's like, fuck. All right. You can't. Look, here's what I'm going to say. If you act like that and act like the movie Not Making Money is okay with you, you won't have a fucking job. All right. Period. Full stop. Okay. And all of that came down to the fact that Kathy Kennedy is, you know, some people have called her a helicopter mom. She didn't give a shit. Look, she proved herself to be disrespectful to that franchise, right? She never intended to honor her words to George at all. She never respected the characters, especially the male characters, you know, Han and Luke, because toxic masculinity, and we need to make this a girls thing. Did it work out? No, it didn't, and it's not gonna work out. It never's gonna work out. Bob Iger knows that now, okay? And he should have known it when Rogue One came out, okay? He should have known it then. He should have known it with all the trouble she had, you know, with the director of Rogue One. She couldn't deal with the guy. All right. You know, this is a time when you're looking at the presidency of Lucasfilm and thinking what a boon it would have been to have Marsha Lucas instead of Kathy running the shop. Because because there wouldn't be a story group. There would be people who are toxic fans, Pablo, etc., who would not be working at Lucasfilm at all, because Marsha Lucas would not put up with their shit. Okay, she actually would do fine as the head of Lucasfilm. Kennedy did not. Okay, Marsha Lucas is not Margaret Thatcher by a long shot. Okay, she's not a conservative. She just understands the franchise, and she understands leadership. All right, so let's go back to talking about Iger. And you know, then we get the buying of Fox, 20th Century Fox and Searchlight. And he hands the reins over to Bob Chapek, and Chapek has to dig them out of a hole and implemented a bunch of plans. And you know, the speculation is $3 billion went missing, and I think Cameron's right, it was FTX. Iger got them involved with FTX, and if Chapek had found out, he'd have called the feds. Okay, and Chapek had to go, and I think that's what happened. And look, if you're a left-wing socialist fascist and you don't realize how bad that looks, money stolen from the company, $3 billion, you're a fucking idiot, okay? And, you know, Uncle Bob comes back and then implements a lot of what Chapek wanted to do. Layoffs, budget cutting, etc. And, you know, you got Peltz going, okay, that's fine. But it wasn't enough. There have to be more job cuts. There have to be more, it has to be streamlined. My thing is, why don't they sell ESPN? They could get a lot of money for that, and I think it would help them, but they won't. Okay, that's Iger being a stupid ass. Okay, sell ABC. Keep like the connection to where you can actually put product on there, but you know, this is a bad place to be. Okay, in fact, let's see what Disney, Diz shares. numbers. Let's, 93, 56, it's down here. You know, it's better than it was last year, or no, about a month and a half ago, but it's still not where it needs to be. It needs to be about 40 points higher, I would think. And it's not. And the reason why is, you know, Iger is not doing what he needs to do, and now he's got a proxy war. Now, I'm going to say this. I've read a lot of articles about what's going on. And this is my advice. It's an uphill battle for Peltz, but it's not out of the possibility. And Iger literally is in serious trouble. Okay, there's a time and a place to be a namby-pamby, social justice warrior bitch boy. But now it's not, because that shit doesn't work. That shit has, look, again, I have an opinion here. You can, you know, do your creative shit, put your activism up on the screen. Do not expect the rank and file public to go see it. Just don't, all right? Movies like that, TV shows like that are not popular. They're never going to be popular. Again, look at The Last Jedi. Hell, look at TFA. You know, Rey is a Mary Sue. She's a wooden character. She has absolutely no she has no development. Okay. In fact, if you watch TFA and then you go to TLJ or to The Rise of Palpatine, she's still in the same fucking costume. They couldn't be bothered to actually make her dress like a Jedi. I mean, can you imagine how bad she stank? You know? And it's just, look, portraying women like that, portraying female flag officers like, you know, Laura Dern portrayed Vice Admiral Gender Studies. It just, people are like this. The fuck? With good reason. Okay? So, we've got Bob Iger in the same situation, basically, kind of, that Michael Eisner's in. Will Bob Iger survive? You know, he's lasted 40 years at Disney, okay? He's, you know, probably stabbed people in the back. He stabbed Ike Perlmutter in the back, which is why Perlmutter wants his ass, okay? And not for gay reasons. I mean, he's pissed. I don't blame him, all right? Look, companies start to fail when personal bullshit starts being the business of the day. Look, at Kathleen Kennedy, they didn't make Star Wars to make good Star Wars. She made Star Wars to placate her own sense of worth. All right, she needed to see herself reflected on the screen, represented. And it's like, you know, if you look at Helena Shaw, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who's got the chin of a football player. She's Kennedy. She's perfect. All right, she's also kind of gross. I mean, I know I'm going to get yelled at by so-called liberated girls, but acting like a whore and in the way that being predatory like that is not cute. It's not endearing. You look stupid. And it's kind of gross to see women act like that. It's just like when my dad would say, I don't like it when I see women get that drunk. And I don't like it, you know, when I see women, you know, chasing men like that, because there's a way to chase men and then there's a way not to. And the way she did was very masculine, and it's gross. If you ever watch Sex and the City, and I got a story about that, you guys are gonna laugh your asses off. It happened yesterday. I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. Anyway, Samantha Jones was a voracious man-eater. But the way she dressed, the way she looked, the way she handled herself, it was a very feminine way of doing it, of being that way. Okay. And that's fine. I don't particularly suggest we all do that. I mean, in the pilot episode, they're at a bar eating, and she says, fuck like a man. It's like, women don't do that. We can't do that. We're not emotionally there to do that. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something else. I think a lot of the women, professors that teach gender ideology know that, which is why, you guys, they try to make it so girls hate boys. Again, the William Shatner. See if I can find that. I'm going to read this to you, because it's hilarious, and then I'll get into my thing from yesterday. William Shatner. Okay. So he says, so this lady named Karen Crawford, says to him, they had Jim Kirk on the show, but let me ask you a serious question. Whose idea was it for your character to screw every female alien? You could have told Gene no, but you didn't. Also, screaming at people at a convention makes you lose fans. I'll show you what Karen looks like. That's who's yelling at him. Okay. So he did a quote tweet, and he says, it doesn't bother me in the least. At least a bunch of self-righteous strangers thinking they are sending a message by erasing the past. Who is going to forget? It's everywhere. It's so indoctrinated that it will take many generations to be forgotten no matter what they do. Let it be. So then we go here. This is his first quote tweet. Sweetheart, stop using presentism to judge a 1960s TV show. It makes you look desperate and silly. Eye roll. Notice how I use toxic masculinity to begin with this. Yeah, I mean, it's just, So then, Dan M says, but Kirk didn't screw every female alien. She's saying what someone who didn't watch the show might say. I might actually watch the show many times. I still haven't gotten a life. I actually watched the show many times. I still haven't gotten a life. Shatner's quote tweet was, people who use presentism don't really have their own opinions or brains to be able to understand that social values and stigmas constantly change, and you need to be able to accept that. They just try to scream the loudest so they get attention. And that actually is a big problem a lot of Star Wars fans have with the Kathy Kennedys of the world, the Hidalgos of the world, the Matt Martins of the world, the Molly Damons of the world. All right. The bitches on Star Wars discussion page that hated Han Solo for no reason. And one of them, she had a great big huge ring in her nose. She looked like a bull. I mean, she's one of these with these glasses. She had a big nose and fuzzy hair. She was really like a fucking freak. And I'm going, why do you hate men so much? Why do you hate handsome men so much? Good looking, sexy, hot, masculine men so much. Okay. And when you look at them, and I know a couple that they're way older than me, hate men. I mean, completely. One has a boyfriend. She was divorced after 30 years of marriage. She's had boyfriends now. cheated on her husband constantly. And so does the other one. And she's still married. Why do they hate men? It's a power thing. They're told, they're told all kinds of lies. It's a stigma to them to be happy because they're not. Now, if you look at Karen, Mrs. Potato Head, she's not married, I guarantee you. And if she is, that poor guy, she probably has cats. Okay. And she's pissed off because a guy like Kirk, a guy like Han Solo, because I'm going to bring him up, a guy like Luke Skywalker, a guy like Lando Calrissian, a ladies' man, would not have anything to do with a hunk of meat like that. Okay, it's just nasty shit, And they don't feel the need to try to make themselves look more attractive. Because to look more attractive, ladies and gentlemen, would mean attracting men. And how dare anybody want to do that? Okay. I mean, how dare that I get the male gaze? What's wrong with that? That's natural. All right. And again, it's putting themselves down because they're women, which is where you get all the they, them shit. Oh yeah, he stomped her, man. That was great. And then everybody came to his defense. Women like that embarrass me. Kathy Kennedy embarrasses me. All right. She built up there's this whole mythology built up around her that isn't real. She is one of the greatest producers of all time. Really? Really? All right. Let's look at Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Let's look at Jurassic Park. Okay. Yeah, the people that made the movie are named, these movies are Steven Spielberg, are, all right, what did you hear, Cross? Because I've been on Twitter, or I've been on here talking for the last, 37 minutes, so I'm going to get off pretty soon. Did you, I wake up every morning thinking this is the day, because look, this is what I want you guys to do. When you know it's over, you take a victory lap. You get on X or whatever and take a victory lap. All right, and then stop. Okay, and put all your efforts into defending Favreau and Filoni. Okay, because then it's going to get tough because the people that are going to be leaving Lucasfilm are going to go on, are going to go on X and Blue Skies and everything and scream and rant and rave and try to cause trouble for Filoni and Favreau. Unless Filoni and Favreau are protected by an NDA, and these people are not allowed to talk about Star Wars anymore. I don't know about that, Maze. I think the fact of the matter is that Iger gave her an ultimatum. If you don't leave by February, this is what we heard, we're dropping the emails and everything. Again, I go back to Drunk 3PO when he said in that live stream, they have a bunch of emails and notes, and they're either going to drop it, and this is from other places then, they'll either go to the trades and drop them, or they'll do another way from what Cameron was told. And we'll see what happens. All right. I am, thinking, because she dropped the price again of that house. So it's $4 million under what she wanted to get it. Yeah, I think they should release the emails. Now, Cameron has a good point because fucking Nelson Peltz is, look, oh, he's doing well. Yeah, he is. He does go on some YouTube channels, the Writer Brothers, and some other ones. It's just after the bullshit of certain black pills and black pill blobs and the DK brothers, he's not going to go into the ones that we used to say him on all the time because it's, look, those guys don't care about what the truth is. Right? They want to make money. Fine. All right. But what they're doing is they're the CNN and MSNBC of the fandom menace. They're not going to tell the truth. Yeah, he is busy, you know. But Ron thinks that Iger might be reluctant now to put the emails out there because Peltz will use them against him. Now, I would think that Peltz would say, this is what I wanted you to do in the first place. Okay. I would think it would be a good idea. That's just me. You know, and who doesn't care, Bell? Who doesn't care? If it's the black pills and the blobs, they don't care. They don't look. This whole thing about saving pop culture, it's bullshit. I mean, when you have big YouTubers like Ethan Van Sciver, whom I have great respect for, saying that he makes a lot of money. Oh yeah, they don't care either. Who makes a lot of money on YouTube, saying that, and you look at the chats that have 7,000 people in, they're watching 2 hours long. I'm talking about Friday Night Tights, which is the gayest thing I've ever. What? It's got a GAY, isn't it? To call your show whatever, and some of them now are not getting as many people watching their streams as they have because people are on to them. Okay, you go on X and you see some of these people and you see comments that are very rude. No, they can't. And it's, look, Iger is an ambitious guy. Iger is one of those people that would probably stab his mother in the back for a narcissistic feeding, okay? And look, I respect him, okay? And I'm on his side when it comes to Kennedy, but I look at him and said, you should have handled this differently. And there's no reason to hide what's going on at Lucasfilm unless you're that afraid of Peltz. And the only thing that makes me think he's afraid of Peltz, is because I think there are other investors asking questions now that are taking Peltz's concerns seriously. All right. Now, the story, from Sparrow was that Kennedy did try to email Nelson Peltz, and I think he told her to fuck off. Okay. So, maybe, Pablo thinks his job will be saved if Peltz comes in and fires Iger and Kathy will come back. But I think he's playing like a guy right now that has no fucks to give anymore and has nothing left to lose. Look, he's got a new book out, a new reference book. Like anybody needs that. He went on I saw that he went on a podcast I didn't watch. But he's acting like a guy who has nothing to lose. Okay. And he's intentionally, you guys saw this, but hopefully it's on here. you guys saw it, the email or the reply to the reporter that dropped the whole, no, the Ray movie isn't canceled, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny how quiet that got suddenly. You know, if I can find it. This is, okay, here it is. Here. There it is. What are they talking about? And then he posts a video, or posts, a friend of mine sent me this last night. All right, let me find the other one. Let me find a different one. On Blue Skies. Okay. I don't know. What does that mean? See? I don't know what you're talking about, Ira. What's he talking about? All right. Is he talking about causing more trouble? Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm not here to bother that guy. I'm concerned about the future of our culture. I'm concerned about George Lucas' legacy. Okay. I don't give a flying fuck what Pablo Hidalgo does. I don't. What I'm concerned about is what he's doing to the future of Star Wars and Lucasfilm itself. Because, look, he complains about people knowing who he is. He's the one who did it. He's the one that went to Celebration and sat up on this stage with Kathy Kennedy. Then he's the one that turned around and started screaming at the fans. Okay. And then crying back to Aunt Kathy. And screaming at the fans again. And then getting his hand slapped by Disney. Okay. He did that himself. As Obi-Wan would say, you have done that yourself. Okay. But you will never see somebody like that. And we've seen it in the people that we've come across in our lives. You will never ever see anybody like that. Kathy, Pablo, any of these people, Jason Ward, take responsibility for their behavior. They're unable to. All right, they're unable to. And everybody around them gets to suffer because of that. Okay? Anyway, what's going on with Iger? That article in the Wall Street Journal was pretty interesting. It's about basically how this time right now is sort of a mirror image of what happened with Michael Eisner. And I agree with that somewhat, but I also disagree because Michael Eisner never went out of his way to put Disney into that much debt and then not use it. I looked at the movies that they've released from Fox that were being made by Fox, and one of the only ones I can think of just offhand is Call of the Wild, which was the first movie I saw during the pandemic. Very few people at the theater, which was sad because it's actually a cute movie. And it's, but that was one of the few. And I think that was part of the Harrison Ford, I will do Indiana Jones if you release Call of the Wild. Okay. But that's it. They have not used that huge catalog. They have not done anything with it. And it's like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Okay. So anyway, I gotta get going. I kind of want to start dinner right now. So for tonight, Rudy had to take his mom to her cousin's funeral, and there are people that he didn't really know well, but his mom wanted to go, and she's 80, almost 87 years old. So he took her, and I want him to have a nice dinner when he gets back. All right, because this is going to be one of those big pains in the ass. Driving there, driving back. It's about 2 hours both ways. Anyway, I'll see you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be safe, and the shit's going down. All right. Uh, the shareholders meeting is going to be in April, I believe, and we'll see what happens then. And as far as Kennedy, it was a wild news week last week. This week's been rather tame. So it's kind of hard to find people, kind of hard to find something to talk about. We could get lucky. All right. Anyway, Steph, signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.